Hello my friends, William Poloniak here from Whole Health Foundation. Today I'm making another garden harvest juice with a couple of golden bell peppers, some celery, a number of other ingredients and other greens. Let's take a look. Alright my friends, here are all of my ingredients. Collard greens from 4 or 5 collard plants, the celery of course, French sorrel, carrots, 1 whole garlic clove, 150 grams of turmeric, about 120 grams of ginger, the bell peppers of course, and some tomatoes. Now before I begin, I want to point out that I'm using the front-loading feed tube and the near zero blowback cutter that has over 80 teeth cut into the cutter. This cutter will shred produce 4 degrees cooler. So let's install the cutter, and then we'll install the thermometer. And remember, you have a space at the back of the cutter for 4 or 5 sheets of 20 weight paper. You don't want that to be rubbing on that round escutcheon. So let's plug in the thermometer. And I'm going to start with 3 ice cubes to cool down the cutter because it's a hot and humid day in Southern California. I'm going to continue with my collard greens, and again, not more than 3 leaves. More greens. Because greens are difficult to shred, I'm going to clean my grid again to make it easier. Every 3rd or 4th time you feed in greens, clean your grid. And you can tell if the motor's working hard, it's time to clean the grid. So more ice cubes. Cubes, and then I'm going to clean my grid. Remember, every time you do greens, every 2nd or 3rd time you put greens through, clean your grid. As you can see, it's very, very clogged. So scrape off the greens on both sides, reassemble, and continue. And now I'm going to feed in my celery. 3 leaves at a time. Now I'm going to start with French sorrel, which is the last of my greens. And we'll alternate that with ice cubes. Now remember to clean your grid frequently whenever you do greens. Greens are very, very fibrous and will clog your grid faster than most vegetables. Here's the last of my greens. What I do next by habit is clean the grid, and I'm going to switch to the number 2 grid, which is better for carrots. It has smaller holes. And we'll put that in the sink and clean it later. Install the number 2 grid for carrots, and I'm going to feed 2 or 3 carrots through, then clean the grid one more time. Now here's the last of my carrots. I want to point out one of the benefits of the front-loading feed tube. First, you can see in here, and I can see that all the produce is shred, but I like to get into the habit of putting a couple of fingers full of pulp in here and force anything through that might not be visible. Next, I'm going to clean the grid and the feed tube, mix the produce, and make some juice. Up on the left, down on the right. That will loosen these wing nuts. And then, either with a damp cloth or with a spray nozzle like I have, clean the front. And just as a reminder, rotate your bowl in both directions so you get a really good mix. You want the greens to be mixed with your carrot pulp as thoroughly as possible. That way it'll never stick to your juicing cloths. Now, the next step is to take the cloths out of the freezer and crack them on the edge of your counter so that they're easier to take apart. And next what I'm going to do is separate them, and then we'll start making juice. And what we're going to do now is show you my 6 cloth less work method. The 6 cloths go in the folding tray with enough space here for the folded cloths. And I'm going to put 3 scoops into each cloth. Fold it in thirds, just like they came in the package. As tight a package as you can make. And I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to press 2 cloths full of pulp at one time. 3 scoops. Later it'll be only 2 scoops, and toward the end maybe 1 scoop on top of the already pressed pulp. You never throw away your pulp until the very, very end. So here we have 2 cloths full of pulp. They're going to go in the press right in the center, centered left to right in the front, centered front to back, all the way back, and you back it off a little because you don't want this to go up too fast. And we'll continue like this until we're done. Now when you're on your last cloth, advance that all the way, and you can see I'm getting into a rhythm here. So watch carefully now. These 2 go forward, these 2 go over. The spent cloths go on top, and we continue in this rhythm until we're done. 2 cloths in the center, make sure your tray's on properly, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, back it off. And we continue until we're done. Now I see that my jar's already full, even before these are fully pressed, so what I'm going to do now is fill some bottles, and then we'll finish packaging the rest of this later. So let's put this back so it doesn't drip on the countertop, and we'll fill some bottles. And as before, I'm going to fill this from the back so the camera has a good view. Normally you'd fill it from the front. Now as you can see, I've repackaged the already pressed pulp into 3 double packets, and I'll remind you, this is pulp that most people would throw away. So I'm going to put it in the press, and let's see how much more juice we get. Now from the first pressing we got 15 ounces of juice, but what I'm going to do is repackage these again because I noticed they're damp around the edges. Now as you can see from a second pressing we got almost 20 ounces, so what I'm going to do is pour this in here, and we still have 3 packets to press, but let's finish pressing this one. Well, by repackaging it a second time, I got another 12 ounces of juice and still flowing. Now, here's one step most people forget. It's very important to clean around the edges of your juice tray and in the juicer machine itself. So I'll first clean the tray and then fold these into thirds. Fold the juicing cloths into thirds. I've already washed them with cold water, and I have the rest of these already folded, so let's put them in the press. And before we press the water out, I'm going to clean the press area. Now with a damp paper towel, I'm going to clean the motor divider and the upper plate. Now most people, many people, I don't know about most, but many people never clean the upper plate. You'd be surprised the condition that some juices are in when people bring them into my shop for refurbishing or repair. I don't know if you can see the color on there or not, but you want to get as much of that juice off the side and the top as you can get off. Now I'm topping all these bottles off with filtered or distilled water. Then we'll cap them and we'll do a taste test. Now my friends, as you can see, we have 5, 10, 14 bottles of juice, and remember, 2 of these bottles came from pressing the already pressed pulp that most people would have thrown away. And we have enough for a taste test. Alright my friends, another Garden Harvest juice with triple the amount of collard greens, some French sorrel, a couple of golden bell peppers, and the ingredients you saw at the beginning of this video. So let's taste it. Oh, this is delicious. I can definitely taste the French sorrel. A little bit of bite from the garlic. Very, very delicious juice. Well, my friends, I hope you like what you've seen. If you'd like to telephone me, either to buy parts for your juicer, buy a juicer, or get supplies like cloths, bamboo liners, and so on, give me a call at 760-753-0321, or you can email me at developtrust@cox.net, or go to my website, wholehealthfound.com. See you in the next video.